What's up, everybody? And today I'm going to show you how to do this. What's up, everybody? CMP with Craftmaster Productions, Studio1Tutorials.com, and Sample Class. Don't forget to stop by Studio One Tutorials, pick up your premium membership. It's 50 cents a day. Also, stop by CMP Kits, get yourself a copy of our ripcord presets, scalar presets, MIDI drums, composition packs, everything that a sample maker would need to get started on their road to greatness. Now, today I am going into how to make a Cubeatz type melody. And there's some really fundamental stuff here, even if like Cubeatz isn't the meta for this space necessarily. Really good fundamentals in the stuff that those brothers put together. So in order to really nail down what we're going to be doing here, you're not going to need much. It's going to be all VSTs. We're going to use Omnisphere. We're going to use the Prince by Frank Dukes, RC20, Guitar Rig, Valhalla Room, pretty much stuff that most of you guys already have. And I'm going to be using my stock sampler and a Coupe the Truth one shot for ambience. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing that we'll look at is the melody. This is coming from a preset off of Unclean Machine. It's a sonic extension from Omnisphere. I'm using, I don't know, I just seen this Glockenspiel Memories. I was like, that's probably some new version of In Memoriam, and it kind of was. Now, when creating your first melody, kind of like the leading one, we're going to do this with the intention of resampling all of this, right? And so you want to make a melody that has some type of bounce to it. The easiest way to think about that, especially if you're, coming from a beat making background, is you want to program your notes kind of like you would a drum pattern, right? So if you were to think about these as kicks, like this is a kick, this is a kick, the 3 is where your snare would be, you would normally have like this right here, this is a popular kick pattern. This is going to add groove into the situation, right? Because we're not going to have drums in the sample. And then alternating and not having the same pattern play over and over, that's what's going to give you bounce here, even though this is a very tight and compact loop, right? The next thing that I did was I copied that pattern, the same exact pattern, right, and dropped a copy of the Prince on it. Now, the Prince, it's a new VST. I don't know it inside and out yet, but for me personally, working with it right now, what I'm having the most success out of is using it as like a texture machine, right? As something that can I can layer my sounds with. I'm not writing a lot of lead stuff with this. I'm more or less doing this where I write a lead sound, I copy it, I then go into the pads, and when I stack it, you can just hear for yourself. So that's without it. Here's with it. So you can hear just that nice bit of ambience it gives it in the back. Really adds to the depth and the overall complexity of this super simple sound, right? And that's what you want to do. You just want to like build layer by layer. The next thing that we added was this ample guitar. I'm using the Luther. This is my favorite acoustic guitar that they have out of here. And what I did to create this was I took, and what I wanted to do was look for, these are just the chords that I'm playing, right? So it's just a 1-5 progression in F minor, right? So this is a 1. The reason why there's 4 notes is because I've got this in guitar voicing. Maybe if you guys want to see that in the comments, how to do guitar voicing in the piano roll, just let me know. Leave me a comment, and I could do a separate video on that. But so I've got these in guitar voicing, and what I did was, you see how instead of doing block chords, I have went and I'm looking at the melody, and I'm finding little pockets where these notes aren't being played, and I'm just adding different different hits to the melody. So now instead of just having like a stagnant block chord, you get this. So when you write your parts like that, you'll have this nice call and response from the different instruments, and that's what a lot of people lack when they're getting into sample making. Is it's not a thing where you stack a whole bunch of sounds together. Like there has to be a relationship between one sound and the other, and you want to think about it like they're kind of talking to each other, right? So all of the instruments can't speak at the same time. All right. So this one asks a question, this one answers it. This one asks a question, this one answers it. Right. I went similar to how I process these types of sounds out of the box with my pedals. With guitar rig, since we're doing VSTs only, I went ahead and this looks like the same plugin, but it's not. This plugin, it has a chorus and a vibrato, right? And like I have this pedal right here, which is a really great pedal, and it mixes both of the chorus and vibrato, right? And this is something that you guys can do if you don't have pedals, and you go and look at what people are using, and you go and look at the pedal and what it actually does. You can recreate it in Guitar Rig. So I went and recreated kind of what my Juliana does, added a tape echo to it, got this sound. So I mean, you can hear it's just a much deeper, more ambient type of sound, and that's what we were wanting, right? Like we already have the um, the sharp transients from the perk. We just needed something to fill out the space. Now I went and added this one shot from Coop the Truth. Just went ahead and put it in the stock Studio One sampler. What you want to do if you're using Studio One is want to make sure that you click this follow song tempo. And what that's going to do is when you play the notes high and low, it's going to keep them at the same speed when they repitch, as opposed to if you have that off and you play it high. You see how it plays faster, and then down low, it plays slower, right? So again, that's your real time stretch for that. And I just went ahead and followed the root notes of the chord on this. Really just drowned it in a Valhalla, just the mix all the way up Valhalla room, and then I have Ascend in my template, which I keep Portal on, and I just used a preset out of the vocals section, and just sent it up to send the halfway, just to add more ambience and vibe to this, because I know I'm going to resample it. So the last step is to bounce it down and resample it. Studio One is really easy. You just highlight everything and then go to mix down selection, and it'll create you a new track with the audio wave. And then I go ahead and I set the quantize to half notes. Right click on this, select split at grid, and it's automatically going to chop at every half note. It's an auto chop feature, and then create auto fades. That way my samples don't pop. It happens real quick. I do that with key commands. So once you load it up in the sampler, again, you want to make sure that you grab all the chops. This is only for Studio One, but you just want to make sure that you have follow song tempo, and then that way when you change the pitch, I went ahead and pitched this down 3 semitones. Typically, if I make a sample that's in a higher key, like above E, I'll when I go to process it, I'll pitch it down. If I start like A, B, or C, D, I'll pitch it up. That's just that's just my workflow, right? Now I love, since forever, the sound of vintage samplers. And the best VST for getting that type of vibe is going to be Decimort. Here I'm using the MPC 60. I go between the MPC 60 and the ASR 10. The MPC 60 is more for like getting like crunch in the high end, and the ASR 10, it like really fills up the mids, right? So I went ahead and added that. Then I added this preset from Minta Foundry. It's called Posh Crush, and I got rid of. I turned down the distortion a lot. This one, a lot of the RC20 presets, and a lot of people like to really roll off the highs in their sample, and I don't know. Producers are gonna get your loops, and they're going to put the effects on like filters and stuff like that the way that they want them to sound. I don't really think you have to go and do that for them, worry about like reducing the sample rate to roll off the highs and stuff like that. I like to leave my highs in my sample because it makes the sample sound brighter. It makes the sample sound louder. It sticks out more. If you're in a folder with a bunch of people's samples and they're all rolled off, they're all going to sound the same. Yours are going to stand out, right? So I just went ahead and changed that. And then I added this shaper box here. This is the volume. And I'm not doing like a full silent dip at the end, but I'm just giving this short little volume automation at the end of every bar. And you'll see like with the chops, it adds, it adds just like a little bit of bounce. It's awesome. So if I go ahead and solo this now, and I show you the chops that I played. I played this on my MIDI keyboard, just trying to figure it out. And I suggest you guys do stuff like that, or you can click it in. It's just fun to play though. See, this right here is probably how like a lot of people would want to use it. But again, when you leave the highs in, you get such a it's just such a bigger, cleaner sound. It jumps right out at you. So to wrap it up, you guys might notice that I don't have RC20 on every one of my tracks, right? When it comes to like a lot of wobble and chorus presets, like yeah, it could sound cool to put it on every single track, but the less tracks that you have the wobble on, you're the less tracks that you have to deal with like potential phase issues and stuff like that, and you'll wind up getting like a cleaner, louder, better signal. If you save something like this for for the end, you can then affect the overall signal. Because a lot of times when I was first starting to like use RC20 and use this kind of stuff, I would put a little bit of RC20 on everything, and then a lot of RC20 on the master, and all of the different wobble settings with the different instruments. A lot of times I would find they would clash with each other. So I feel like for me, the best way to use it is to, specifically like heavy wobble, is to leave it for last, or put a little bit on the individual ones and then don't use it at the end, right? I don't like to stack a lot of these. Again, a good clean sound. You can still make it sound lo-fi, you can still make it sound gritty, but you don't have to consistently stack everything. Have yourself a melody that's bouncy, has a good rhythm to it, layer it with a nice trippy pad, and then underneath that just have yourself some chords that are playing a melody that is complementing what your top line melody is doing. So this is CMP with Craftmaster Productions, Studio One Tutorials.com. Keep it simple, don't be basic, and we will see you on the next one.